We would love for you to like, subscribe, and comment on the projects you're about to see.
Hey guys, it's me, Jennie with Absolutely Handmade. I am out in my garage and I'm working on content for you guys this week. I got to use my laser engraver for a few projects and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think about this week's things. I actually liked them this week. So that's a change in pace and it's kind of nice. So leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Thanks, guys.
So with the first project, I have a wood plank that I found in my stash, and we're going to use pitch black. And thank you to those of you who mentioned using the mister, because that definitely helped move that paint a lot better and cover this blank a lot faster. So we're going to do one coat and do the sides and the edges. And then we're going to pull out our stamp and just kind of get ready to go for it. Now here we're just using Kindest Regards. I'm inking it up with a white ink that I will not recommend. This ink kept smearing, it wouldn't dry, so 0 stars, do not recommend. I'll go back to my IOD ink soon. Okay, so we're pressing on the top. Get that good and done. Re-ink with the Chromie ink. And then used a different section to do the bottom just so there's a little difference in the script itself. You'll notice I'm bending it up because there was still a little bit of ink on the top. I was trying to avoid double pressing. Then I kind of laid the tree on there. This tree is from Yuletide. And then I wanted to go through and see if I could find some of the foil transfer from Tinsel. This is IOD's third foil transfer that they've come out with since they developed this product, I guess. And I flipped back to the back page and the word peace just resonated with me. So I grabbed that one and cut it out. And then I wanted to go back and get a frame out of the front couple pages that the peace wording would fit inside of. Also on this page were a couple of snowflakes. So I cut those out as well. I'm kind of prepping all of this so that we can keep moving forward. Okay, so I've got my snowflakes, cut those up individually, just to kind of get an idea of where things were going to go and what I was going to do with them. Now with the tree, I just go ahead and sketch around it with a pencil, just to show myself where on this board this is going to go, so that when I get ready to start painting the background, I'll kind of have an idea of where I need to do that. So then I take out Italian Ivory from Paint Couture, which is their all-in-one paint. It's a primer, a paint, and a top coat all in one. And I start painting just kind of that rudimentary outline of the tree. And I did even kind of overflow in some places outside of that sketch line, because I was trying to make it more even, or I didn't want it quite so pointy, or I wanted it to flow a little better. And this paint, guys, is highly pigmented, so it doesn't take tons of coats to get the look I'm going for. I literally put on one thick coat, and I believe I dried it with my heat gun, and then I kind of touched up where the black was kind of peeking through with about, maybe another half a coat. I didn't do a second full coat. This is where I was trying to kind of get my lines a little bit more. I want them to be more graceful and not quite so sharp. And I am not normally a painter, so this is kind of out of my wheelhouse some. I think for those of you that watched the video last week, you heard me mention I'm more of like in the lines, which may be why I outlined the tree, actually, to give myself a line, because mentally that's just what I do. And then went back and colored it all in pretty much. But I love this ivory too. I didn't want to use the stark white because I wanted it to pop and be a different color against the print on the background, but also I wanted the snow on the tree to stand out. So I wanted to use something other than white. And I've just about got it all filled in here. Hit it with the heat gun so we can go ahead and move on. I love my heat gun. I've gotten spoiled to it. I didn't have one when I first started doing crafting, but definitely had to invest in it so I could keep moving. Okay, so YouTube magic and the loss of some footage. Now the tree has been transferred on. The piece frame is on, the piece wording is on, and now I'm putting on the snowflakes. Don't ask me what happened. My camera just decided it didn't want to be recording anymore and it shut itself off. So, wasn't dead. Nothing was wrong. It just did it. This is where I'm looking at it going, that white background is very stark. And I know normally with IOD ink, you can kind of wipe it back because remember that pitch black paint had an all-in-one top coat. Well, this crummy paint was not the case. It totally wiped off the white, and I was so disappointed at first. And then, happy accident, I realized that it did in fact leave a white shimmery, I don't even know what you want to say, just an imprint kind of in the background of this print. It's not super obvious at the bottom, which I didn't mind because the piece wording was there and I felt like it was really getting lost in those white letterings. But at the top, it's real obvious and it's very pretty. So on to the next project. This one we're going to be using the pitch black from Paint Couture, the acrylic all-in-one, the Fusion milk paint in the color Toasted Coconut, and then I used my laser engraver, which you kind of got a preview of earlier, to make this oval frame and oval edging because I really just couldn't find the perfect blanket for me to use on this one. And then Yuletide is the transfer we're going to use in this one as well. And as far as I know this one is sold out by IOD themselves, like the stockists can no longer order it. I am personally out of it, but there may be a couple of stockists that still have this one in stock. So if you're looking for it, check around, see if you can find a stockist near you that might have it. So the first thing we're going to do is pull out the oval background, and we're going to use the pitch black. And again, thank you to everybody that mentioned the mister, because that has made life a lot easier. This paint is super thick, which I love, and if you need it to be a super thick coat, that's amazing on its own. But with the mister, spraying that water on there helps spread it to where it just really coated that wood circle really well. And honestly, on this one, we didn't need full coverage anyways. If a little bit of the wood was peeking through, that's okay, because we're fixing to put that toasted coconut over the top of it. So now we're going to mix the milk paint, and it's, on this one I didn't need a ton because it was just this one little round. So I used 1 teaspoon of the toasted coconut. And it's just a powder. It's like a real fine, almost like a baby powder type consistency. And you put one to one. So 1 teaspoon is what I used here of the toasted coconut. And it was sticking to my spoon, so I just kept tapping it, trying to get as much of it off as I could. I don't like to be wasteful, guys. That's just me. And then I grabbed some water and put a teaspoon of water in there as well. And then some people use a whisk. I've got whisk. I just didn't have it in the area, and I usually end up using these silicone blades, and they work pretty well. The two actually mix pretty easily and pretty quickly. It just takes a couple of stirs and you've kind of got it together, and then the more you stir, the more smooth it becomes. And the hardest part of milk paint's just you have to let it kind of sit for a few minutes for it to really do its job the way you want it to, or the way I was looking for it to do. So it's got to sit for about 10 minutes. Set it off to the side. We're going to go ahead and work on staining the frame to go around this transfer we're going to do. And again, we're using those water wipes that I found at Walmart that I love. They're my favorite applicator for the water-based stain. Waverly's stain is just really pretty. It's a really pretty brown when it's done. And that's one coat. I think, oh, I almost lost my paint there. One coat is, pretty. 2 coats sometimes is even better. So I darkened it up just a little bit because I felt like it needed a little bit more to it. And that's it. That's all you have to do that stain. It doesn't really need much more. Now we're taking the toasted coconut after it's been sitting for about 10 minutes. And I wanted to put on a really thick layer of this, not just for coverage sake, but because I know the thicker you put it on, and I don't know, just the more dense the liquid is, when you hit it with a heat gun, the more it crackles. And on this one, I was going for that like old ceramic crackle look that you get when you see like old dishes. I wanted some of that black to show through. I wanted it to look aged and antiqued. I could have gone back and accentuated the aging and the crackling a little bit with some more, either a wax or a glaze or something like that. But this particular craft is going to be for my mom, and her color scheme is more of this off-white. She doesn't have a ton of really dark, rustic, aged things in her house. She tends to lean more towards the neutrals. So here we are hitting it with the heat gun. And you can see it's pretty much full coverage, like you can't really see the black through it anymore. And I wanted that heat gun to really dry it fast. So see all those crackles and little chippies. It's so pretty when it was done. I love the milk paint. I've only used it. This is only the second time, guys, I've ever used the milk paint, and I just love the way it looks. Now out of Yuletide, we're pulling these cardinals. And these, as I mentioned last week, I love cardinals. It reminds me of my grandparents. My mom's dad used to sit outside and watch the birds. My grandmother did too, but my grandfather was a big bird person. So now that they've both passed, every time I see cardinals, I think of them. And I know my parents are just coated in cardinals, and that's what my mom always says, my parents are here. So it's kind of cool. And take the Jolie wax and seal it with a clear. And in this case, you're going to do as I say and not as I do. Wait to put that wax on until after you've attached the frame, because you'll see I'm focusing a lot on the outside rim, because I realized I have to glue that frame piece down on top of that, and I'm really worried that that wax may not allow it to stick. So I kind of brushed it a couple more times with that shop rag, trying to get some extra off. Here we're using the Loctite Professional Super Glue, which I love. It holds really well. And then we're just going to set it down on top of this frame and match them together. And since I used my engraver, it's literally the same oval. I just cut out the center of the second one. So I have another blank now I can use. That little center section that popped out, I can use for something else. I never let anything go to waste. So here we are gluing this down, and it sticks within just a couple of seconds. I went back and added a little piece of string on the back as a hanger. I thought about putting a sawtooth on, but I got to thinking, I don't know if she's going to want to use it as like a leaner or in a picture. I can't think of what it's called, the little backer things. I just wasn't sure, the easels. I wasn't sure if she was going to put it in the easel or where she was going to want to put it, so I didn't want to put anything on it that might stick out and be bulky. And here we are putting the wax on the frame now that it's all attached. So this is what I should have done in the first place, was just go ahead and attach it and then wax the whole thing. And wax those over those transfers too, because it really does help secure them and keep them in place. And you can see that the laser etched edging just kind of gives you a nice wood look, even though it's more or less, it's like a charred edge, and you'll want to wipe it off when you're cleaning it up, just to make sure it doesn't get anything on your hands. But once you get it cleaned up, it's really pretty. Wipe it all around. And that's all there is on that one. This is giving you a preview of my laser engraving machine. It cuts through, that's 1/4 inch birch, pure bond. I have the Creality Falcon 2, the 40 watt, and it can cut like 3/4 inch to an inch in one pass. I don't know, I'm just super amazed by that machine. It's really cool. So here's the crimson velvet, and we're going to use that tree that's an entire back page of the transfer book. And I cut the frame out to match it so that the frame is exactly the same as that transfer. I think it was like a 1/4 of an inch shorter or smaller because I wanted the transfer to run under the frame. So you saw me just there, I just sketched it so I know where to lay that transfer down. Now, normally I'm really good with transfers. I don't know what happened here. I think I get excited about what I'm doing, and you can see it's not sticking right away. So you've got a little bit of flexibility to move it around, but I found where I wanted it, laid it down, rubbed all over it, hoping that, that would help get it stuck and started. And maybe it's because it's a full sheet, and that's what kind of tripped me up. But you can see I kind of, right there. I went to like tack it down, and I caught basically a wave in the carrier sheet and caused it to bubble up. Now, fortunately, on that side, it didn't really matter. The little wrinkle that it has in it, or the little snafu in the transfer, you can't tell. And then I'm like, oh, I need to slow down and do this. But then on this one, again, maybe because it's a full sheet, I got a little overexcited about how easily it was going down and how well it was sticking, because I guess I just didn't rub all over the transfer. See how I'm just peeling it up? I'm not really rubbing enough. I think that was my mistake, because you'll notice down here in the bottom corner, yep, a couple pieces lifted up. Now I've got a spot. And if you watched when I was rubbing with the transfer stick, I didn't really focus on that corner. So I think that's what happened. I think I didn't spend enough time rubbing on the transfer all over before I peeled the carrier sheet up. So now I'm just kind of looking at it going, I wonder what I think. Yep, those little spots are going to show. So that's going to bother me with my OCD. Not going to work. What can I do? Should I paint it? No, I don't really want to ruin it. Okay, so we went back to Crimson Velvet, pulled out these 2 little packages that are in that transfer sheet. So this is giving you a 2-in-1 tutorial, because now you're seeing how you can layer. Super easy to layer transfers. There's not any hitch whatsoever. You can layer them easily, and you really can't tell that you've done it. If you go back and look at this one up close now, you can't see any kind of, the little edging is called a halo. There's not really a halo on this one. IOD has the smallest halos that I've found in the industry. So there really is usually not much there for you to see. So checking again, make sure it looks okay. You can see that little spot on the right really didn't do anything because it was covered up by the frame itself. Again, here we are with the antiquing wax and the baby wipe, or not a baby wipe, it's an aqua wipe or a water wipe. And we just use that to rub that water-based stain all over. I love this stuff because it's so easy to use, and it's not, it doesn't leave a mess on your hands. Like if you get it on your hands, it just washes off. So it's one of my favorite user-friendly stains. I love the variety of the oil stains, but this one's super easy, and it fits every decor for us. I mean, that color brown goes pretty much with everything. So there's the bottle, just in case you want to see it. And checking it again to make sure it all goes together. I just think that brown goes really well with that frame. Again, with the professional Loctite super glue. And you can get that at Walmart. I'll link it in Amazon just so you can see it. But if you are locally shopping, you can find it at your big box stores too. And then all you have to do is just press it on. And it's going to be a perfect match because, again, doing the laser engraving machine, I'm able to cut out, basically I just cut out a big rectangle, and then I did an inset on that rectangle and made another edging to make the frame. So all matched up, looks great. Now we're going to take and rub some wax on it just to kind of seal it all in. And I do, again, wax my transfers just to kind of seal them up. Not that this will be touched a whole lot, but if I put it in my booth, which I probably will, you know, kids, spills, all the things can happen. So always best to put a little bit of a sealer or protector over your projects, even if it's, you know, it doesn't have to be like a polyacrylic. It doesn't have to be, you know, the best top coat in the world, but just something to help protect it. Unfortunately, this one, the corners were kind of catching gobs of the wax, so we'll fix that in a second. Put that Jolie wax up, and then buff it back off with a shop towel. And again, I love those blue shop towels because they're lint free, so you can use those for virtually any crafting project and it's not going to leave a mess on your project. I used to use paper towels, and yes, that's more cost efficient, but they leave a mess. So it's best to get the shop towels. And those are found in like the automotive section at Walmart. Matter of fact, I can link those on Amazon too if you'd like. I'll put that in the description box. And then our last project, I found this little measuring can at Desiree Industries here in Phoenix, and I got it for $1. So we have AirBNBs in Tennessee, and 2 of them are next to like a cow pasture farm thing. So we've kind of nicknamed them the farmhouses, and then we've got 2 that are on the Tennessee River. And every Christmas I go back and I decorate. So I'll be going back in a couple of weeks to decorate. And this little angel girl just looks like what I remember growing up as a kid in the South, because I grew up in Tennessee and outside of Memphis. And I just think she's cute. So I was like, okay, $1 for the little measuring cup. And, you know, I don't know how many transfers you get in a transfer book. I probably should sit down and do the math, but you can't even, I mean, there's no way we're even spending $1 per transfer. So probably a couple of cents on these transfers, and she's just super cute. And now I've got a really cute piece of decor for the farmhouse, and I'll get to keep her, which is kind of nice. I like keeping a few things that I make. I don't keep much, but sometimes I do. Gonna burnish her, make sure she's on there good. And you can see all the little ridges that were in the can, they went through on her. That's not a problem. You can transfer right over those ridges. You just have to take your time. And then again, I put the wax on just to protect her and make sure she's not gonna get scratched off, you know, the first time something looks at her. So wax her real good. And then go back and buff just like we did the other ones. And then she's all ready. She'll go back with me to Tennessee and go in the little 2-bedroom farmhouse, and it'll be super cute. For $1. Just can't get over the $1. All right, so here's the review of all the projects. You can see in this light a little better the white impression that's left in the background. And again, it fades towards the bottom, which I don't mind because that piece wording stands out better. There is more white than what's showing up here in the video, but it's not a lot. So I like the way this one turned out. Surprisingly cute, despite the little snafu with the white ink. So lesson learned, get your IOD white ink. Hopefully IOD will come out with a gold and a silver. I'd love to have some metallic colors in ink as well. That would be awesome, because their ink really is, it really is superior to most others on the market. Then here's those cardinals. I think these turned out beautiful. I love that cream color, and that crackle finish is amazing. I just cannot believe how well it turned out. Again, this is my second time using milk paint, so don't be afraid to order some milk paint and try it. I've got the little tester sizes if you want to test it out. I've got just about every color under the rainbow in the testers, and you could really have some fun with that. And this Christmas tree is just, it's very traditional and very classic looking. A little moody, academia with the colors, but it's very pretty. I love those deep dark colors for Christmas sometimes too. The last few years we've tended to be more on the muted side, but I may have to dip back into the traditional soon. I've gotten where I've liking those more and more each year as I'm seeing more decor come out that's darker. And then the last thing is that cute little girl on the side of that measuring can. I just think this is adorable. And she'll be super cute in the house back in Tennessee for Christmas. Can't wait to show her off. She's so cute. So leave me a message down below, guys, if you like everything you've seen today with this little vignette.